Hey howdy hi, I'll start from State RTV here. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, released in 1992, is a game I have insanely fond memories of. The first time I beat it was playing the Sonic Mega Collection Plus as a kid, and since then I've played Sonic 2 nearly every year since. Now I'd be lying if I told you it was perfect, but I'd also be lying if I said it wasn't a near-perfect sequel to the first game, link to that review in the description. There are a few things that keep it from quite getting to peak, but I'll get around to those later. For now, let me glaze the fuck out of this game. Sonic 2 was, for a long time, considered the best classic Sonic game by a lot of Sonic fans. That opinion has changed a little bit over time, but the overall consensus is that Sonic 2 is pretty damn great. The first game oscillates between good and kinda shitty every other level, and it still had a grip on me as a kid, so when I got my grubby little hands on Sonic 2, things changed. I remember booting it up, seeing Tails, and thinking, sweet, another guy to play as! And then being disappointed that you couldn't actually play as him in the normal game unless you were playing, player 2, and let me be the first to say, you can't even see where player 2 is because they go off screen so goddamn often, and the two-player fucking racing mode or whatever smells like hot dog water. And you know it does. The version of Sonic 2 I'm playing here is Sonic 2 Absolute, and it is my favorite way to play Sonic 2. It's essentially a fan port of the fantastic mobile version from 2013, and it can be played with a legally obtained copy or APK. Anyways, the plot of Sonic 2 is this. Dr. Robotnik is back to his old ways, kidnapping woodland creatures to power his robot army, and it's up to Sonic and newcomer Miles Tails Prower, Jesus Christ, to show the good doctor what he's up against. There are 11 new zones to tackle, so let's jump straight into it. The first zone is Emerald Hill Zone, and holy mother of Froggy, this is a banger of an introduction level. Think Green Hill Zone, but faster and a little more going on. There's loops, bridges, waterfalls, etc. like Green Hill, but Sonic Man here has an ability he didn't have in the original Genesis version, the Spin Dash. The Spin Dash can be done by holding down and tapping the jump button to charge it up, and when you let it go, Sonic speeds off on a rolling ball, blazing through any enemies in his path. Both handy for level traversal and taking out baddies safely. This is a fantastic addition to Sonic's moveset and such a simple change that does nothing but enhance the gameplay. Also, as I go along, you'll notice how when I pass the checkpoints, a ring appears above. This is the new way I enter special stages, to get the Chaos Emeralds. These new special stages sure are... I can't pretend I like them. They're alright. They just felt really overdone after a while, as many Sonic games afterwards would continue to use this half-pipe style over and over again. It's definitely not the worst way to design special stages, though. After unlocking all 7 Chaos Emeralds, you can turn into Super Sonic if you collect 50 rings during a level. It's great to have something real in-game for completing the special stages instead of just a shitty, ending thing like Sonic 1 had. The zones here are split into 2 acts rather than 3, with a boss at the end of the second act. Now I don't mind this change, as I feel it allows for more variety in the zones compared to the first game. The boss fight at the end is super easy for Emerald Hill, but it is acceptable for a first fight, so I won't give it too much. The second zone, Chemical Plant Zone. What can I say about this that hasn't already been said a billion times? I mean, we've seen this stage rebooted countless times in different ways because the original is generally revered as one of the best levels in Sonic, which I think it deserves. The speed you can achieve in this level is insane, the loops and curves are abundant, and the music absolutely crushes it. Take a quick listen. The boss fight here is alright, if not too easy again. Dodge Robotnik when he spews his goo at you, and you're good to go. Zone 3 is Aquatic Ruin, which is, oh my dear god, water level code blue, we have a fucking water level. Oh, no, it's not that bad, actually. I think they actually have learned from Labyrinth Zone. They gave us enough bubbles, not nearly as shitty level design. Thanks, Sonic Team. The whole vibe to this level is immaculate, and I, again, am a fan of the music. The only real critique I have here is that there are a few of the enemies that I could see being very annoying if it's your first time running the level through. The boss here is pretty cool, though. Robotnik hits these stone totems to make them shoot arrows, and you have to dodge them and use them to climb up and score a hit on old Eggy Boy. Zone 4 is Casino Night, which is one of my personal favorite zones of the game purely for the aesthetic. The music, the art, and the level design are great, and the pinball is a fun little distraction. There's some platforming, ball launching, slopes, and bumpers to boot. The boss here is alright. I like the concept of the pinball setup, but even without Supersonic, I usually just kind of spin dash from one side and jump into him repeatedly. He's pretty easy. Zone 5 is Hilltop Zone, a unique zone with hilltops, obviously, mountain ranges, and fucking lava. All in all, I like this zone. It's not my all-time favorite, but the level design is pretty good and the boss is decent, if a little forgettable. The 6th zone is Mystic Cave Zone. Mystic Cave Zone is another cool, unique zone in both aesthetic and music. The level design is alright, there are these neat quirks like the moving boxes or the vines, but nothing that really jumps out at you. Yep, really normal level Mystic Cave Zone. Nothing to see here, nothing weird. Anyways, the 7th zone is Oil Ocean Zone. Sonic makes his way through a literal ocean of oil that somehow hasn't caught on fire already, given the environmental conditions. Anyways, the level is well designed, multifaceted, and only slightly frustrating if you're a newbie. The boss is also well designed, making you move side to side to avoid attacks, or ducking to avoid laser fire. It's fun. Next is Metropolis Zone, the only zone to have 3 acts, and it doesn't deserve it. Overall, this is kind of an irritating zone if you don't intimately know all of the acts and the level design. Near the end of the game, you know, it makes sense that it's harder, but it doesn't mean it's well designed either. The enemies you encounter in this level are obnoxious, especially the Asterons, Shellcrafters, and Slicers. The level design itself isn't too bad, actually. There are multiple routes to take in 3 of the acts. There aren't nearly as much of a pain as they're made out to be. Most of the time. The boss is just kind of weird and not terribly difficult, but also not really fun to me. It's alright. The next zone is Sky Chase Zone, which is just a single act where you ride the plane while Tails pilots it. I love the little cutscenes connected here, and it's got neat music, but I do not care for this level. I don't think that auto-scrolling in Sonic works particularly well, and this level is the perfect showcase for that. I just personally don't have a fun time with this one. After Tails gets obliterated by Robotnik's laser, Sonic has to jump to the air fortress before the plane goes down. Wing Fortress Zone is another level I just find alright in terms of level design, but the set pieces are so cool and the cutscenes are cool, and I love all the gimmicks in this one, so I can't complain too much. I find the boss kind of forgettable, as I had to go back and look at my footage to remember what the hell I just played so I could write the script. Yikes. Giving chase after Wing Fortress, Sonic clings for dear life to Robotnik's rocket, making it all the way to Death Egg Zone. Death Egg Zone is the final zone, and I find it seems hard at first, but once you run it through a couple of times, you can get all your hits in without dying. Did I mention you get 0 rings for this one? Anyways, the first fight is against not Metal Sonic, which has a relatively predictable pattern, so you can beat him with ease. Given chase yet again, Sonic has to contend with the Death Egg Robot, a huge meg that looks like Robotnik. This one takes a blistering 12 hits to defeat, but often leaves himself open to attacks, so as long as you don't touch those spiky bits, you should be good. Sonic runs away from the bot, the Death Egg exploding behind him. Tails, watching below, sees the Death Egg explode and decides to take up the fixed plane to save Sonic. However, if you unlocked Super Sonic, Sonic saves himself by going super, and flies along Tails in a sick outro with some beautiful music. So ends Sonic 2. A game with far improved gameplay and level design over the original. The spin dash is a godsend, the special stages give you supersonic, and the levels really accommodate for Sonic's high speeds and physics in ways that they didn't before. It isn't perfect, and there are a few levels that aren't so memorable, but overall I think it's a super tight, super well designed game that totally deserves the praise that people give it. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you want to see more about Sonic, Halo, and many other planned games, please check out my channel and give me a sub. Or if there's a game you want me to talk about, or check out, live stream, whatever, please leave me a comment and let me know. Thank you, and have an August as good as Sonic 2 is.